Good morning, third and fourth graders. We're going to do some math. I know you're excited about that. So I'm going to have you do lesson 116, 17, and 18 next week. So I want you to turn in your book to lesson 116 on page 537. Okay, fourth graders, turn to page 537 in your book. We'll go over lesson 116. I'm going to start right in on the new concept here. We're not going to do the mental math. So I want you to read along with me. It says, two or more fractions have common denominators if their denominators are equal. 3/8 and 5/8 have common denominators. 3/8 and 5/9 do not have common denominators. In this lesson, we will use common denominators to rename fractions whose denominators are not equal. Rename 2/3 and 3/4 so that we have a common denominator of 12. So it's 2/3 and 3/4. They want the common denominator of 12. So I'm going to put that over here, put 12, this over here, and put 12. So I need to figure out how to get from here over to there. To do that, we multiply. What 3 times what gives you 12? Well, that's 4. So we're going to multiply it by a number that's equal to 1. 4/4 equals 1. So 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. So 2/3 equals 8/12. Same way with 3/4. What do we multiply 3/4 4 times to get 12? Well, we multiply it by 3/3 because 3/3 equals 1, and we multiply 4 times 3 equals 12. 3 times 3 equals 9. So 3/4 equals 9/12. Let's go to example number 2. It says rename 1/2 and 1/3 so that they have a common denominator. This time we need to find a common denominator before we can rename the fractions. The denominators are 2 and 3. We will list some multiples of 2 and of 3 to find multiples that they have in common. Multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and so on. We see that 6 and 12 are both multiples of 2 and 3. Since 6 is less than 12, we will use 6 as our common denominator. To get denominators of 6, we multiply 1/2 by 3/3. Because 3 times 2 equals 6. 1 times 3 equals 3. So 1/2 equals 3/6. The other example they have is 1/3. Well, to get to do the denominator of 6, we multiply 3 times 2. So we would multiply it by 2 2's and get 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So our denominators are the same. Look at the note at the bottom of there at the example number 2. It says if we use 12 for the common denominator, our fractions would have been 6/12 and 4/12. Usually, however, we rename fractions using their least common denominator. I'm only going to do one of the practice here with you, and then we'll go on to lesson 117. Look at A. It says rename 1/2 and 1/5 so that they have common denominators. Well, if we go to the multiples, the first one that we come to where they both have the same would be tenths. What would we multiply 2 times to get 10? 5. So we'd multiply times 5 fifths. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 5 is 5. To get a denominator of 10 from 1/5, what would we have to multiply it by? Well, 5 times what gives you 10? So 2 2's. So 1 times 2 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. So that is how we do that. I think you'll find it's pretty simple after you try it a while. Now I want you to go to lesson 117 on page 541. It says rounding whole numbers through 100 millions. We have rounded whole numbers to the nearest 100 and to the nearest 1,000. In this lesson, we will practice rounding numbers to the nearest 10,000, the nearest 100,000, and so on through the nearest 100 millions. Recall the locations of the whole number place values through 100 millions. After reading to the nearest 10,000, each place to the right of the 10,000th place will be 0. Example number 1, round 38,274 to the nearest 10,000. Well, counting by 10,000s, we say 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and so on. We know that 38,274 is between 30,000 and 40,000. Halfway between is 35,000. Since 38,274 is greater than 35,000, we round up to 40,000. Turn the page. Example number 2, and I want you to go back and reread the whole lesson. I'm just giving you the highlights. Round 427,063 to the nearest 100,000. Well, counting by 100,000s, we say 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, and so on. We know that 427,063 is between 400,000 and 500,000. Halfway between is 450,000. Since 427,063 is less than halfway between 400,000 and 500,000, we round down to 400,000. So please go back and reread the lesson again before you do the problems, because I want to go on to lesson 118, dividing by 2-digit numbers. It's not as hard as it sounds. It says, new concept. We have divided by 2-digit numbers that are multiples of 10. In this lesson, we will begin dividing by other 2-digit numbers. When dividing by 2-digit numbers, we sometimes accidentally choose an answer that is too large. If this happens, we start over and try a smaller number. So, divide 95 divided by 31. To help us divide 31 into 95, we may think 3 into 9. We write the 3 above the 5 in 95. Okay, we've divided. Now we multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. We subtract. There's nothing to to bring down, so our answer is 3 with the remainder of 2. Okay? Let's turn the page and see the next problem. Divide 246 by 43. Well, we can think how many 4s are in 24. Well, that's 6. But we're not taking 43 into 24. We're taking it into 246. So we'll put our 6 up there and try it. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry 1. 6 times 4 is 24 plus 1 is 25. Uh-oh, that's too big. So we need to start over. So it's not 6. Let's try 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry 1. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1 is 21. Then we can subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. This remainder is less than our divisor, so our answer is 5 remainder 31. Do you have that? Hopefully. And once again, I want you to go back and read the whole lesson. I wanted to try example number 3, 487 divided by 21. Well, how many times does 2 go into 4? 2. So we're going to put our 2 up above our 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. We can subtract and bring down. How many times does 2 go into 6? 3. So we'll put our 3 above the 7